Good evening, and welcome back for the debate between those candidates who are running for House District 10. With us this evening, we have Victor Anderson and Robert Crumbley. We're glad to have both of you with us this evening. So that the citizens of Habersham County House District 10 can learn a little bit more about you and why it is that you desire to represent them. Just to reiterate what the rules are, each of you will have the opportunity to have an opening statement. I believe there was a coin toss in the back that is going to give Mr. Anderson the opening statement, with Mr. Crumbley having the close. Each of you will have 2 minutes in that opening statement, with a 1 minute close at the end. Your answers can be a minute and a half in time, with a minute in rebuttal should your opponent call out your name or mention you in the response. If you see Mr. Neesmith, push the yellow light. You have 15 seconds left. When the red light is pushed, you can finish the sentence that you are in. Are you ready, gentlemen? I know the citizens of the House District 10 are ready to hear from you. In campaigns, I was going to go ahead and start. I wasn't even going to let y'all do an opening statement. I jumped the gun there. Mr. Anderson.
I know we're last, okay, and everybody's probably, we've heard all the questions and a lot of very good responses over the last few candidates that we've had. But thank you very much. Thank you to the Habersham GOP. Thank you, Rebecca, Carl, Alan, everyone involved in putting this together. My name is Victor Anderson. I'm a native, born and raised in District 10. When I say that, my mother and father were both from White County. We lived there till I was about 4.5 years old, and I've lived in Habersham County ever since. So this district is home to me. I'm a local business owner and operator. I'm a former county commissioner. I graduated from Habersham Central High School and then went on and graduated from Georgia Tech. I have 2 beautiful daughters. My wife, Kim, is here. I have 1 5-year-old grandson. So my reasons for running for this position are all of those. I have vested interest. My life here in Habersham County and in District 10 is an investment. I've invested my life, my livelihood, my family, my business, and my future in this area in Northeast Georgia. So I want to do what I can to help us continue the legacy that we've had for decades now of having good representation in Atlanta that bring winning solutions back to Habersham and White counties. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and to move on from there.
Mr. Crumbley.
Yeah, I appreciate all y'all staying for the rest of this, especially to the end. I mean, you're real dedicated to it. My name is Robert Crumbley. I'm running for State House, and I'm born and raised in White County. Graduated from White County High School in 2014. Worked odds and end jobs. First job was at a funeral home, and went from being a spot welder to a meat slicer at Eagles to getting picked up by Trump staff working on the Trump campaign. Finished out the Georgia primary from the end of 2015 to about the mid of 2016. And then I sought out west in Montana, working with endorsed candidates for Congress to ensuring their victories. And then moving back home, working with the governor's race, and that was very interesting. Decided to get a real job and get out of politics. And now I'm a national sales manager with a company called Classic Muscle Metal, which is on 115. I sell sheet metal for classic cars, and I love that. My reasons for running for office is it is very burdensome to see how many small businesses, especially in our community, are being oppressed by a Republican super PAC. You know, Republican values, you're all for low taxes, low regulations, pro small business. And what I've seen so far in the state of Georgia, we are not the #1 state in the union for small businesses. We're #1 state in the union for big business. And so I was sick and tired of seeing all the small businesses struggle in this area, so I decided to throw my hat in the ring and run for office.
In campaigns, there is always rationale for why someone is the best candidate for the job. What do your differences and similarities to your opposition provide that will make you uniquely positioned as the best candidate? Mr. Crumbley, we'll start with you.
As you can tell, I do not have, I am quite young, but don't let that fool you. I have done my due diligence with the issues, the underlying issues in this community, and therefore, passion is what sets me aside. The experience is great, but the experience does not win the battle. The experience did not win us the Revolutionary War. Passion won us the Revolutionary War. The experience, that is pretty much the fine line. Mr. Anderson is a great man, and I highly respect him. And but what sets us apart is experience over passion. My passion for my community and serving others is far greater than my own life, and I am just so overwhelmed by the government, the big government, and the Republicans not acting Republican. And so that's what sets us apart. I'm a constitutional conservative Christian, and I will stand up to not only the Democrat Party, but to the Republicans that are only Republicans in title only.
Mr. Anderson.
Okay. As Mr. Crumbley alluded, we share a lot of the same passions and a lot of the same philosophies as conservatives. We're both Republicans, we're both pro-life, we're both pro-Second Amendment. We follow all the tenets that typical Republicans do. The biggest difference between us is that experience. I have experience not only in running my personal life, budgeting my personal life. I have experience running a business, multiple businesses, budgeting from that standpoint. I've also served as a county commissioner, chairman of the county commission, so I know what it means to run a taxpayer, to develop and to manage and maintain a taxpayer-funded budget. That experience is critical because the number one responsibility for our state legislature, General Assembly, is the budget. If anything, nothing else can happen, but we have to pass a budget at the state level. That's constitutionally required. It has to be a balanced budget. We have to know how to do that, how to craft that, and then once it's done, how to manage it. So the biggest difference between us is going to be my experience both in a personal life, business, and also my brief experience as a county commissioner.
Many voters in House District 10 are concerned with the economy and our state's budget. What are your plans to help boost the economy and lower the unemployment rate? Mr. Anderson.
Okay. Our economy is critical. We are not a nation that is dependent on our government to dictate our economy. We're in a nation that is based on states and individuals creating the economy, and our government comes from that. So one thing we need to do is get our government out of the economy as much as possible. The biggest concern that I have with the current pandemic that we're going through and the unemployment situation that we're in right now is the fact that it was a fabrication. When I say that, I'm not saying that the virus is not real. What I'm saying is that there were different ways that things could have been handled and possibly should have been handled that would have had less of an impact nationally. I'm proud of our state. I'm proud of Georgia. I'm proud of our governor and the way that he has handled with a very controlled returning of our economy and that sort of thing. Our unemployment rates right now need to go into history books with an asterisk by them, just like somebody who cheated in Major League Baseball, because it's not true unemployment. It is a forced unemployment. There are people out there who would love to work, but there are also people who are making more than they've ever made in their life, drawing unemployment with the federal government kicker that's coming in there. That's been a benefit. It's been something that was required to help us through this, but we've got to start opening our businesses back up. We've got to start relaxing regulations. And we've got to learn to deal with what is going to be with us from now on.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Crumbley.
I cannot reiterate this enough that we cannot tax the individual. That is, taxing the individual puts a burden on society. Taxing commerce provides a means to not only the individual, but to the businesses themselves, providing the encouragement to spend that money within the community to stir the economy. It's like a whirlpool. What I'm wanting to do, and I have a detailed plan of how I'm going to do it, is make overtime tax non-taxable. And how we're going to do it? The movie industry. We do not have a tax bracket on the movie industry, and we have given our own tax dollars, $800 million, to the movie industry for them to film their movies here. Why? They're outsourcing. Majority of their six-figure income jobs are being outsourced. They're not hiring people from Georgia. They're moving people from California, New York, and liberalizing Georgia. So we have got to put a tax bracket on the movie industry, like even California and New York have a tax bracket on the movie industry. Even if you cut it in half, that amount of money is $400 million. That will be enough to make overtime taxes non-taxable, and completely get rid of inventory taxes on small businesses, and cut income taxes in half.
Being that House District 10 is a rural area, and we continue to see the ripple effects from COVID-19 and the way it impacts our small businesses, what do you see as the best way to help them recover and grow from the current economic situation they're in? Mr. Crumbley, we'll start with you.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Given that House District 10 is a rural area, and we continue to see the ripple effects from COVID-19 impacting our small businesses, what do you see as the best way to help them recover and grow from the current economic environment they are in?
I want to stop incentivizing that people don't need to go out in public. People don't need to go out to work. People need to stay home and quarantine themselves. There's so many businesses here in the county, especially local restaurants. Local restaurants are dying. And the state is not doing a dang thing to do. Not a thing. They're not giving any sort of incentives. I'm so disappointed in even the local governments for not providing any incentives to help these small businesses recover, or help these small businesses through these trying times. But the state doesn't, in the blink of an eye, help these corporations. Walmart can be open all it wants to be, and they make their own regulations, but yet small businesses, they can't make their own regulations. So we've got to stop incentivizing big businesses and letting the big business control what our local and state politicians do, and listen to the backbone of our community, which is the small businesses. And so we got to be able to incentivize opening them back up and give them any sort of financial resources they may need, instead of giving all the sort of tax breaks or whatever to the big businesses. We have got to give aid, financial aid, whatever kind of aid, 10-second due diligence amount of aid to be able to help our small businesses reopen and flourish in our community.
Mr. Anderson.
Small business, and I can say this because I'm a small business owner and operator, small business can come out of this shutdown, the pandemic we're in, given the right opportunity. We're beginning to see that opportunity with the relaxation of rules and reopening of certain businesses under certain guidelines. I believe that we need to give small business the opportunity to open, function, and run with certain safety and proper safety protocols. My business, for example, we started from the very beginning. Part of our business was considered essential because we're part of the new construction phase of construction. So we began initially by having stringent cleaning processes and procedures within our business. Not necessarily requiring our people to wear masks, however, making it optional for our employees, and our customers have that option when they come in, but also practicing social distancing. We spread out workstations so that we wouldn't all be congregated in one area. There are ways it can be done. It can be done safely. It can even be done with restaurants. My daughter is a cosmetologist, okay? They were closed down for a long time. They have, particularly in the salon that she works in, have some of the most stringent cleanliness and safety precautions that rival a medical facility. So there are things that can be done, and we've got to get government out of business as much as possible and let the businesses come back on their own.
As we discuss opening up our economy, we're also talking about schools starting in the fall. Following the reduction of public education funds in the fiscal year 2021 budget, what will you do if elected to represent House District 10 to ensure that both students and educators are supported, equipped, and prepared to safely resume instruction, whether that be in person or virtually? Mr. Anderson.
First of all, Habersham and White County are blessed to have excellent education systems, both our public education systems and the private schools that are in our area, as well as the secondary schools. So we have a really good situation that we need to continue with here. For the last several years, the state budget has fully funded QBE, which is fully funding the educational system in Georgia from the state level. Local governments have had that opportunity because of the extra funding coming from the state to build some reserves. Those reserves are going to be critical in helping to pay for the expenses associated with startup and that sort of thing going on right now, because a lot of our local governments depend on, our local boards of education depend on sales tax revenue for a large chunk of their budgetary requirements. So, and that's way down because of what's been going on. I feel like the cuts this year, or when I say this year, I'm talking about the 2021 fiscal year budget, does not fully fund education. We've got to get back to that point to give our local school systems a chance to recover and to get back to a point where they have excess funds. Again, I've said all along and I say again, education, as much of the regulation for education as possible needs to be pushed back to the local level. Our local boards of education understand, they know what our students need, they know what our children need.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Crumbley.
So I do not think the financial strain on education, especially in this district specifically, is a burden, because we have paid our school taxes for we have one of the highest rated school taxes, well, White County does anyway, one of the highest rated school taxes in the state. And we are a AAA school, one high school. We have paid so many school taxes over the past few years, they have an abundance amount of money. They have so much money that they're buying useless pieces of technology that are going to be outdated every 2 years, instead of investing into something. And when administrators are paid 4 or 5 times higher than teachers, that's the problem. So when it comes down to the students is where you have to begin your basic education. The basic education cannot begin with the teachers. You have to begin with the students. What do the students need, and how do they need it? And then you gain a focus group of individuals who want to provide that service, which are the teachers. And then the teachers say, okay, to be able to provide this service, we need to do this, this, and this. And we need this. Whether it be money, resources, whatever the teachers need. That's what I'm listening to. Whatever teachers and students need, that's what I'm going to be listening to. Not the members of, political elite and whatever the state education says.
In these very different times of political posturing, how do you weigh the fear-mongering of the mainstream media with precautions centered around getting our state and our communities back to functioning capacity with the mask and social distancing suggestions and infringements of the people's rights? Mr. Crumbley, we'll start with you.
So from the media standpoint, I wish there was a law, a federal law, that restricts fake news and exaggerated news, more specifically. There are so many news sources and so many, they're all getting their information from the same place, but the way they provide it to the community, they're either giving exaggerated numbers here, giving exaggerated low numbers there. it is almost impossible to believe whatever you hear on the TV. You just have to do your own due diligence, which is very hard, because how I get my news is through the source directly, whether it be the CDC, the IRS, the FDA. That's where I get my news, because I'm getting it straight from the source. News Corp and all those companies, they're getting paid on views, not for their news. They're getting paid on views, so they don't really care what the news is. So mainstream media, when Trump says fake news and don't trust it, I completely agree. Do not trust it. Do your due diligence, get your news from the source. Don't believe what you see on Facebook. It's good God, I wish there was a law to help people accountable for releasing false information to the public. And that's all I have to say about that.
Mr. Anderson.
I do believe, from my opinion, that it's obvious that particularly our national news media sources have a bias, and that bias is pretty obvious against conservatism and conservative governments and candidates. So that's something that's going to be difficult to address at a state level. We can do certain things from that standpoint. Now, to the intent of the question, and that is regarding masks, social distancing, and the requirements that are happening around us now regarding that, I am a constitutional conservative. I believe in personal freedom, but I also believe in personal responsibility. I believe that the individual should have the opportunity to educate themselves, to learn, and to take what actions they feel necessary to protect them and theirs. If you feel it's necessary to wear a mask, or even suggested to wear a mask, and you want to do that, that is perfectly fine. I've done that myself in some occasions, because I have elderly parents and I have family members that we want to make sure they get protected. Social distancing is something that, the good thing is we're all cleaner than we've ever been. So, but I do not believe government mandate is constitutional, that you wear a mask. I do not believe that the state of Georgia should require that in any way. I know our governor has promoted and suggested the wearing of masks in public and that sort of thing to protect ourselves and others, and I feel like that is as far as we should go.
Across our country, and even here in our own state of Georgia, we continue to see and read reports of rioting along Winston Hall to defund our police and our law enforcement personnel. What is your stance on this issue, and why? I'll start with you, Mr. Anderson.
I don't think I can say it with as much passion and as eloquently as Stacey Hall did earlier, but defunding our police is a horrible mistake. It is a concoction of left-wing groups that are trying their best to defeat our president. There is no basis, there is no situation and no circumstance I can think of where that is beneficial to any citizen in the United States, or really in any country. Now granted, there are procedural issues that can be reviewed and that sort of thing, but that approach is completely 180 degrees from what we need to do. What we need to do, again, is take responsibility for our own actions. I've seen it posted on social media and that sort of thing is, the police won't bother you if you're not breaking the law. So it's a pretty simple solution that has been overly complicated in the wrong direction by a group of people that is a large group of people with a large agenda.
Mr. Anderson, Mr. Crumbley.
So I believe that the saying, defund the police, is a euphemism for any qualified immunity, because like Mr. Hall said, if anybody with the right mind says defund the police, they need to go down to military. So absolutely not defund the police. But like I said, House Bill 847 was just gutted and passed through the state legislature. That bill introduced was a bill to end qualified immunity and being able to hold state and local agencies responsible for, are accountable for their actions of violating constitutional rights, specifically. and not police brutality, blah, 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 but violating constitutional rights specifically. Sounds like a great bill, right? By the time it was passed, that whole bill was gutted, same House Bill 847, and that's what that casino referendum was just passed. Nothing has nothing to do with the House, with any qualified immunity. So I believe that's what they're protesting about, is trying to end qualified immunity. Because even I'm the most pro-law enforcement person out there. I love law enforcement, and I always aspire to be a member of law enforcement. But there are instances, even though if they're 1 in a million, there's always instances where somebody gets away with something that shouldn't be done. And what they're fighting, what they're protesting for is to get rid of that qualified immunity. So no, do not defund the police.
Thank you, Mr. Crumbley. If you are elected to represent House District 10, do you have a committee preference? And why would that committee be your selection? And what are your hopes to accomplish on that committee? Mr. Crumbley, we'll start with you.
All right. So there are no specific, it depends on whichever governor's in office and what their agenda is. Because especially if it's a Republican governor, and what their agenda is. And Governor Kemp, whatever his plans are for this fiscal year, those are the committees I'm going to get myself onto to help pass or to help fluctuate, the governor's agenda. There's a million issues in government, and I want to solve every one of them, but I just can't. So instead of going out on a limb on my own trying to solve the world's problems, I'm going to team up with the current administration and be a part of whatever their agenda is, whether it be education. I'll be on educational committees, labor, agriculture, stuff like that. But any specific communities at this time, I cannot tell you or commit to any sort of one.
Thank you, Mr. Crumbley. Mr. Anderson.
There are 180 members of the State of Georgia House of Representatives. Each one of them have different skill sets. Each one of them have different specialties and experiences, if you will. Personally, I'm a small business owner, small business operator. I would love to be involved with the Economic Development Committee, the Small Business Development Committee. I also have a vested interest in many aspects and have seen both sides of the regulated industries. I'd love to be on that committee. There are a couple of other issues that are coming up this next year. One of them is the legislative and congressional reapportionment with the census going on this year. That's going to be a major topic for the next couple of years in the General Assembly. Drawing those lines and making sure they're drawn properly. As we know from the last couple of years with the state house races here in Habersham County and White County, those lines are sometimes not that logical. So there's some things that can be done with that. Also, I would like to be a part of the Human Relations and Aging Committee, because that is a huge thing that we're dealing with as our population begins to age and things related to that sort of thing. And then finally, there's the state of Georgia has a Rural Development Committee that was put together and made visits all around the state, meeting in rural areas to discuss issues specific to outside of the 285. And I would really love to be a part of that if the speaker would allow.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Gentlemen, that concludes our questions for this evening. So you get one last opportunity to convince the citizens of House District 10 why it is that they should vote for you in the runoff on August 11th. Mr. Crumbley, we'll start with you with closing statements.
My fellow brothers and sisters of this community, if you want a proven, passionate person who does their due diligence and not only investigates but aims to hold people accountable for their actions, no matter which party they're from. The underlying issues we're facing in this day and time are past the point of party values. It's the point of integrity. And integrity is my greatest virtue. I will bring a blended vision and accountability to not only the state house, but from the city councilman all the way to every corner of our state. I aim to not only, education is my number one attribute is the number one thing that I'm trying to implement, is the fundamentals course to high school kids, so they can learn about government and take intern courses through local government to actually learn about government the right way. But my name's Robert Crumbley, and I hope to have your vote on August 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crumbley. Mr. Anderson.
Experience, knowledge, integrity, all of these are issues that have been discussed in several different venues tonight. Who has what, who has this, that, the other. I feel in this race, I am the most experienced candidate. I have encountered situations both in my personal life, but also in my business and in government that will benefit the citizens of District 10 going forward. I understand the way the system works, but I'm not an insider to the system. The only position I've ever held has been county commissioner for one term. I ask for your vote, I hope for your consideration, and I ask for your prayers. So please vote for me on August 11th, and remember, early voting starts next Monday. Thank you.
That concludes our debate for House District 10 with Victor Anderson and Robert Crumbley. Thank you, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, would you please give these gentlemen a round of applause?